Hi guys, and welcome back to StudyPlug with me, Lottie. So today's video is pretty heavily requested by you guys. It's all about how I got an A in my English Literature GCSE. I have to say it was quite a journey, if you could say it like that. Oh my goodness. Absolute hell, but I got there and I'm going to show you how I did it. So you don't have to go through the long journey that I went through. How did I get an A? Honestly, I don't know. It was probably luck and a lot of hard work. I think probably the main thing that you want to be doing when you're revising for any subject is to really work on exam technique. That is your biggest thing. Like, if I hadn't have done all the practice essays and all of the research on what I think could come up and all of the vocab, extra reading and stuff, I would not have got an A. I based my essays on my extra reading. Literally. You've done about Romeo and Juliet, you read another Shakespeare things, you can compare them. You're doing a poem by Hardy. Look at other Hardy poems so that you can compare them. You can be like, oh, he didn't do this in this poem, but he did in this poem. This could reflect how he was feeling. And stuff like that really gets you extra marks. It shows the examiner that you're really prepared and you care about your GCSE. You didn't just turn up, hi guys, gonna do my English literature, don't have a pen, don't have any knowledge, haven't memorised any quotes. No. You want to prepare. Yeah, practice questions also. So what I did is I printed out the question, and then the example answers for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. I wrote out my answer, then I compared it to all the other answers and looked at what I could do better, which actually really helps. How to memorise quotes. So I drove my family absolutely mad with my quote memorising. I actually wrote out all my quotes on post-it notes and stuck them all over my house. So not only did I learn all my quotes, but the rest of my family did, because that's all they saw every day, which I'm not sorry for, because it meant that they could test me on them, which was great. But we all still remember all my quotes, which isn't as great. But they're stuck in your head. The other tip I would say is go and get extra help if you're struggling. Like, don't be scared to ask your teacher for extra stuff. Like, I went to my teachers so much, I drove them crazy with the amount of extra help I was getting, but it paid off, and I can tell you it helps. Your teachers want you to pass. Like, they aren't there like, you're going to get a 3 and I'm not going to help you. Like, that's not what they're there for. They're there to help you get as good as you can because they want you to do well. So definitely go and ask for help. Also, another thing that I did, read as many books as possible. Because I think the average reading age of a GCSE paper, any of them, is like 15 years and 9 months. And the average reading age of year 11 is year 9. So 2 years younger than you actually are. If you don't read like books that are higher than your standard, then you're not going to understand what they're going on about in the exam. And that's really important. But also, if you're doing AQA especially, I know they do this, they give you 5 extra marks for your SPAG, so that's spelling, punctuation and grammar. And if you can't get those are 5 marks that could push you from a 7 to an 8, from a 3 to a 4. That could be your breaking point. So if you can't get your spelling or grammar right, then you won't do as well as you could have done. And also you get marked a lot on how sophisticated you are with your language. So using words like connoted, just really long words, will get you more marks because it will be more sophisticated and formal and more like an essay rather than just a report on the book, which I think is really important. And also, for English literature, you have so many poems to revise, but you don't need to learn them all. Surprise! You do not need to learn them all. Learn context for all of them. Some context, at least know who they're by. But you don't need to learn all the quotes. Don't waste your time with that because it's ridiculous. So when I took mine, we had 3 different topics of poems. So we had love and relationships, war and places, I think. I'm talking like it was years ago. It was like 2 months ago. But we had 6 poems in each one. So we had 18 poems altogether. Learn quotes from 2 poems from each one. Just 2 poems for each one. I learned quotes for 6 poems. So I wasn't faffing around trying to learn all the poems off by heart. I was just learning a couple of quotes. Like, you don't even need that many. You need to learn like 5 quotes from each one. And that's fine. I managed to write, in my exam, a whole paragraph on 1 word of the poem. If you can choose the right quotes, the ones that you really understand, then you could write so much about it. Like, say the poet used the word ice, okay? Ice could connote the weather, how it was icy, and that's dangerous. It could also imply coldness, which could also reflect how they were feeling. So if they were feeling especially angry or upset, the ice could then connote the coldness in their hearts. Stuff like that. On 1 word, you can get so much out of it. So don't learn like a whole line or a whole paragraph of your poem. Learn 1 word, and that's it. And it's great. I have a friend, shout out to Olivia right there, who in her mock couldn't remember any quotes. So instead put quotes around every he and she and they that she could find, and I do not recommend doing that because that was a disaster. No offence, Olivia, but that was a bad decision. Revision guides. I often get asked like, oh, I've got my revision guides, I spent loads of money on them, they look great, I take photos of them, put them on Instagram, oh, look at me revise, but I have no idea how to use them. I have to say I was in that position about this time last year. I had my revision guides and I had no idea what to do with them, but that's why I'm here, to help you. So, revision guides, there are a lot of ways that you can use them. Some people just read through them a lot of times and memorise some of the things. That didn't work for me because I was reading so many different revision guides that I was just getting muddled up. So what I do is I have my revision guide, I have the book or the poem, and then I have a massive notebook, like 10 subjects I think mine was. And I take what the revision guide was saying about a line in the book or the poem, and then I'd rephrase it in my own words, and then I'd rephrase it again in other words, and then I'd write like a paragraph about what it was saying and how I felt, and then I'd move on to the next bit. And that really helps because you're not just copying like absent-mindedly what it's saying, you're actually taking in the information and then you're putting into your own words, which then you actually remember in the exam. So that really helps.